Hey, this is Al Bane for Leather with C4OCradio.com, and my good buddy Denny Stelly behind the scenes running the camera and all that good stuff. We're here for part 2 of our interview with Bob Gjika, and hopefully by now you kind of have an understanding of what push-pull versus single-ended is doing, and the origin of tone and how it's coming from the hands and the fingers and the signal that's coming out of the guitar. And if you have a really bad signal coming from there because of maybe inferior quality product that's generating that, then the way people mask it by using other amplifiers or other toys to modify the signal and achieve those things, and how these pieces of equipment that Bob is producing clean it all up and make it more pure, if you will. So part 2, we're going to be talking about gain versus volume and what those relationships are, and how tone is affected through the signal path and stuff like that. It's very interesting. The more you know, the less you feel like you know. Be careful with what you wish for. That whole topic seems to be here. So please enjoy part 2, Mr. Bob Gjika.
You know, these amps are not even on one. They're so low right now. It's not even funny.
Yeah, but when you crank them up, they're deafening, right? I mean,
oh man, I
had the fun of that without my earplugs yesterday.
They'll set you straight. And all those sounds can be had at any volume, you know.
Right. So that's something that.
Have you ever felt anything? Well, I hate to. Have you ever felt anything like when I had you through the 412?
Under your feet. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what I first noticed.
And the feel of the guitar.
Yeah. It felt like you had substance.
Right.
Yeah.
So you had mentioned that a few times in our previous conversations, that the same tone happens at low volume as it does at the high volume, and some of the other amplifiers like the Marshalls only can achieve that at high volume.
Yeah, you really can't play them low. They're all scratchy.
Okay, so let's talk about that for a split second. How does that work where yours can achieve the same tones at low volume?
Well, again, it's a little bit of everything I've done.
Well, let me ask you. Let me add another little segment to my question. What is the edge of breakup, and why are people always trying to operate at that moment?
Well, not everybody is all the time. It's one little facet of guitar playing, you know, and it's a buzzword that you probably hear.
I hear it all the time.
Yeah,
right.
you hear it all the time. You know, and that goes back to the amp that has to have just the right wattage, and that's where you want to set it, is right where it's breaking up. And then when you back your controls down, it cleans up, you know. And then if you want more, you ain't got it. You're going to have to put something in front of it. But it's an age-old thing guitarists like to do, is set an amp at the edge of breakup, a traditional amp that's got a lot of limitations, and then control it from here, and then step on something to drive it. I mean, who hasn't? That's what Hendrix did. That's what Jeff Beck did. That's what, you know.
So now your approach is slightly different to that, right?
Yes and no. I grew up with that, and that's what I'm doing. But what I'm using my Gain Master to do it so that I can have it at any volume out of that same amp.
Okay.
So I've taken that constraint away of that, you know.
Having to push the amp.
Yeah, no matter where I have it, I can get edge of breakup right here to clean right here to full out, you know.
There you go. So let's talk about the Gain Master and how that, you know, in the briefest of terms, how that achieves that.
That is hard to simplify.
Well, I mean, it's as simple as a switch
Right.
and 2 knobs, right?
Exactly.
So I can turn, I believe, the one that's on the far right one way, and it's going to have that heavier gain sound, or more distorted, right? And then turn it the other direction, and it's going to clean up a lot.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's have a sample of that. So we're set right now at kind of in a little less than halfway, right?
Right. You know what? Most of your guys probably are Les Paul guys, right? On your
Just like this guy?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
You want to trade?
yeah, I'm gonna trade you. I'll get it. That's what I really need to do. Put my cold hand hands on the guitar.
That's your favorite thing, right? Yeah.
Right.
And our good silent buddy over here wants me to talk about tone talk and keyboards. Alright, so let's talk a bit about what you just did, because I saw you play a little bit, and then you adjusted the knob on the guitar, and then you played and it sounded a little bit different.
You know, you could. I've got that volume way down on the guitar. Clean to roaring, you know.
Okay, so how did you do that? You turned the volume down and then you switched the pickup selector, right?
Yeah, well, on a Les Paul, you operate it differently. I had this one set for stun, so all I had to do was, but I could have done that with this one too by just cranking it up.
So, but what you're saying is there's many paths to the same answer.
Right. Now say you wanted to, another great thing about the Game Master is, like, I'm not the guy that puts a whole lot of tube gain on something. I like about, you know, the amount of gain that's in an amp just turned up. Now, when I want more than that, I want, like Hendrix did and a lot of other guys did, and I want to put something germanium, something fuzz in front of that, so I have a different color than more tube gain. But you asked me yesterday about gain and how, you know, what is gain, right?
Right.
Well, it's basically the same thing as volume. If you're not a guitar player, gain and volume mean the same thing, but it's sort of become to mean a different thing to guitar players. For one reason, because nobody can play loud anymore. Like if you said, well, a 100-watt Marshall has more gain than a 50. Well, what does that mean? Well, to us old-timers, it meant if you plugged this Les Paul with a cord into a 100-watt Marshall and turned it all the way up, it was much more ferocious sounding than a 50-watt. But that gain or volume, whatever, is coming from everything. It's coming from the power section of the amp and the preamp section of the amp and everything. So, of course, the 100-watt would have more gain. But now people think gain as just front end, I don't know how to put it into words, but, you know, it's just, you know, more of it. And if you're an experienced player, you know that too much gain just hurts tone. That's all there is to it, just hurts tone. Unless you're play that style where you need that gain for that style. I don't even know that style, I don't play it, so I'm not going to talk to that, but whatever that is, that's fine. But even when I hear somebody doing that, I think if they just took some of that gain out, most people just have more than they need. If you learn that exact amount of what you need, and then use your hands to make it sound like more, then it's much more tony in the end. But for instance, let's say the Game Master, like I told you, mimics a cranked amp, right? Which it does. Now I just turn a fuzz on in front of it, okay? And the point of that is, when you put a fuzz in front of an amp, you don't put it in front of an amp clean. You put it in front of an amp that's cranked to get that little fuzz sound.
Okay.
So the Game Master not only mimics the sound of a cranked amp, but it works with effects that way too. So now with that fuzz in there, so, you know, you can actually use the Game Master as a link between effects and get the sound. That sounds like, if you, I don't know how that camera's going to tell, but if you were here, that's got the same drive as if you dropped that fuzz in front of this amp, cranked up, because the Game Master is giving you that hinge point. like a fuzz does in a crank. Should have warmed up so my hands function.
That's all right. So we've got a couple different sounds coming out of it without really adjusting much on the gain master or the fuzz, right? But what happens if we crank that gain knob a little bit?
Well, then you'd have that kind of gain you'd have that kind of gain I have now with the fuzz giving me the extra gain.
So now we're taking off the gain,
But
of
you
the
have
fuzz.
with the gain master. I'm going to crank the gain master up to 3/4, okay? And that's, you know, for one thing, my hands aren't right today, and another thing, I don't even play this sound, so, but this will be a lot of it too. This ball's hard to play sitting down.
Which is cool, okay, so it will achieve that heavier end without a whole lot a lot of magic going on other than the circle. Okay, so to that end,
Let me show you something. Let's go back to fuzz off. We're back to very low gain setting, okay? I'm gonna bring these amps up to about 9 o'clock.
okay,
Get ready, because you're gonna feel this. All right. Let me know if the camera goes totally. So I don't play fast or anything, but did the camera get that?
Yeah, sure.
so that's so loud it's virtually ridiculous, but what I do notice is that
It gets louder. If you have to play Carnegie
I'm sure
Hall-
it does, considering it's only a quarter of the way up. But when I hear loud guitar players in, you know, nightclub settings, my ear tends to crackle, right? And you know, I'm putting in earplugs and doing all kinds of that. My ear isn't doing that, and I'm sitting right in front of the amp.
Yeah.
So what's kind of going on there?
That's what these are all about, you know. It's a pleasant sound. It's the sound from the recording, not the sound from the guitar amp. It's the sound after the engineers fixed it up, right? So just for character difference, there's humbuckers, you know. And at that same setting, we'll take a strap back. But yeah, I mean, that's one of the comments I get when a guy gets the amp, is all the other comments, obviously. Oh my God, touch sensitive, I can't believe this thing. Is, and I can use my bridge pickup now, because it's when you do that on the amp in the room turned up, it's not like on the record. The bridge pickup. That's what you're feeling, and really when you listen to the record, it's never harsh, you know. The harshness comes from playing the amp. I got a chord that's making some noise. I got to chase that down later.
Sooner or later. Okay, so there's that little gray box and 2 amplifiers. Why are you playing through 2?
All right, I've always played in stereo ever since I was young. The original Sean Lane amps were in stereo, but not everybody plays in stereo. And so the whole idea of me playing in stereo myself, number one is I'm always testing amps here, getting them, broken in to go out. So playing through 2 is better than 1. You get twice as much done in the same time. But I myself, like this is just a passive switch box, okay? So here on this amp here, I have one effect. I have a delay, very small. Because I never want to lose this sound right here. Kind of like losing the sound of the guitar in a way. I also like an amp with nothing on it all the time. There's a magic there that once you start putting effects on it, disappears. So when you blend them both together, you don't have that problem anymore, do you? I didn't actually mix the volumes up too long. That fuzz. You want to hear the fuzz at this volume? Yeah, just click the switch right there. Some fun.
Yeah. And that's the key with all of it, is to keep the fun.
That's what it's about.
Right.
I got guys that call me all the time, and I can't, it's hard to convey this, right?
Mm-hmm.
And, I'll answer the phone and they'll go, man, I'm playing the amps and it's just so good, it's so good. They just want to thank me again and again and again and again. And I do the same thing when I sit here, because I can sit here playing really low like I was earlier, and be getting stuff I get right there, That camera probably didn't hear the difference of the volume going up and down, but it would obviously hear that the tone is pretty much the same,
Well, so
or it wouldn't feel in the room, right?
Right. You wouldn't feel it.
Yeah.
The reverberation.
So we keep talking about tone, so that brings up Tone Talk. Tell me about Tone Talk. Is that like a forum or a group of people that talk about?
That's Michelle's thing. She puts that on all my videos.
So that's a hashtag of yours.
I think it's something she does that because
Okay,
we're talking about guitar tone.
Mm-hmm.
Right, and your fans and the followers of your product can find you when they hashtag Tone Talk?
I build the amps for Sean.
Gotcha. Okay,
So-
I understand.
But where can they find you? If somebody wanted to, other
Gjika
than the
Amplification is the website.
Right.
And
.com.
Gjika under YouTube,
Right.
is where that's at. Here she is.
So tell us about Tone Talk from the Invisible Lady.
Tone Talk?
Yeah.
Well,
Is that a
and what you guys
hashtag?
have been doing, yeah, it's very popular for people that are listening to guitar videos.
Okay, so Tone Talk is the hashtag to follow the Gjika Amplification. But I'm sure we'll create a couple hashtags of our own, Gjika Amps, amplifiers, blah, 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 right?
Another group of people that like to listen to Bob, evidently, when he reveals amp builder secrets.
Okay, so there's another hashtag, Amp Builder Secrets.
Yeah, I mean, I've been doing this so long. There's so much knowledge in here, and I'm not the most eloquent speaker in the world. So if you prod it out of me,
Also,
But essentially,
here,
it starts to flow.
essentially the place you want to go to order, check out details, specifications on your amp would be GikaAmplification.com, correct?
Yeah, so we'll put that in the credit reel. Okay,
And just
cool.
send us if somebody wants to make an inquiry, there is a form on the website, you just send us a thing, or you probably can find Bob's phone number maybe even on there.
Yeah, people call me all the time.
Yep.
He likes to talk about amps and guitars.
And there's one guy that just called me. I haven't had a chance to get back to him yet.
The
I gotta
professor
get-
guy.
Yes, from Connecticut. I gotta get back to you, dude. I will.
He likes the zombie electron.
Usually I answer the phone, but I've been very busy because
Careful what you wish for.
I know I've
Yeah.
been very busy lately with these amps, and it's not easy because other people aren't working and refusing to work, and you know, so
That's what I was going to bring up a little bit also,
parts.
is the coronavirus and the current state of affairs with the epidemic and the quarantine and all that. How is it affecting you and your day-to-day operation?
it's bizarre. It's a bizarre question with a bizarre answer, okay? Because you got to be very careful not to sound arrogant here, but I've been busier than ever through this, okay? And it doesn't make any sense. It's still weird to me. I'd much rather have it go back the other way because it isn't real. There's no way it's real. People are, you know, sitting at home watching my videos and saying, oh man, I love that amp. I think I'm going to get that. And I don't know, maybe they're thinking it's time to spend some money on themselves or whatever. I don't know. But what I do know is that I do know a lot of other guys that do what I do. They sell speakers or this, and I've asked them all, and they're experiencing the same thing as me. So it's not just me, okay? But if you own a restaurant or something, or
It takes longer to get parts.
yeah, or something else, then you're not having the time I'm having right now.
Right, well, the epidemic
So-
is definitely interrupting a lot of our society's day-to-day operation, but my question is more based on your particular situation,
Yeah, and
how
that's-
your business is run.
Right, and that's what I'm trying to say, is it makes no sense to me why I'm so busy, and it could all fall apart at any minute, you know, because the economy that's holding up through this is very, very suspect. Number one. Number two, you look at guys like, the guys that are always making money playing. I don't know that I want to mention any names, but there's one guy I know that does the boat gig, okay? And I mean, we're going to take this one instance. Just think about that shutting down. How many people does he employ that go and play on that boat and that, you know, that set things up and carry the equipment and do that? Think about his yearly tour, this guy. This guy's been able to figure out how to make a lot of money and make a lot of people happy playing in front of them in the music business.